Single Dad offered shelter to his CEO in storm. What happened next shocked everyone. Marcus Chen wiped the rain from his face as he locked up the warehouse. His shift finally over after 12 grueling hours. The storm had been building all evening, and now it unleashed its full fury on the city. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. Thunder cracked overhead like artillery fire, and the wind bent the trees nearly horizontal. Marcus pulled his thin jacket tighter, thinking about his daughter Emma waiting at home. She was only 8 and storms terrified her. He'd promised to be back before dark. But overtime was overtime, and they needed every penny. His ancient Honda sat in the far corner of the employee lot, and he jogged toward it, squinting through sheets of rain that felt like needles against his skin. That's when he saw the figure struggling with a car door, cursing as the wind tore an umbrella from his hands. Marcus recognized him immediately. Daniel Westbrook, CEO of Westbrook Industries, the very company Marcus worked for. The man who signed the paychecks of 3,000 employees, who lived in that mansion featured in the business magazines, who probably earned in an hour what Marcus made in a year. His sleek Mercedes sat dead, hood up, clearly not starting in this biblical downpour. Marcus hesitated. He could drive past. Westbrook probably had people who handled these situations. But Emma's voice echoed in his mind, her favorite bedtime story about the Good Samaritan. Daddy, we help people when they need it, right? Even if they're different from us. Marcus sighed and pulled up beside the Mercedes. Mr. Westbrook, sir. Do you need help? Daniel turned, rain streaming down his expensive suit, recognition flickering across his face. Chen, Marcus Chen from logistics? His voice carried disbelief. Yes, sir. My car's running. Can I give you a lift somewhere? Daniel glanced at his dead Mercedes, then at the storm, then back at Marcus's battered Honda with its mismatched door and cracked windshield. Pride warred with practicality on his face. Practicality won. My driver's 40 minutes away. If you could take me to a hotel, I'd appreciate it. Get in, sir. Marcus unlocked the passenger door, brushing aside Emma's school papers and a forgotten juice box. Daniel folded his 6-foot frame into the cramped space, looking as out of place as a diamond in a toolbox. Marcus started driving, but the storm had other plans. Within minutes, visibility dropped to nearly zero. The radio crackled warnings about flash flooding and fallen power lines. Streets transformed into rivers. Marcus tried 3 different routes toward downtown, but each was blocked by rising water or debris. His phone buzzed. Emma. Daddy, I'm scared. The lights went out. His heart clenched. I'm coming, baby. Stay away from the windows. He hung up and made a decision. Mr. Westbrook, I can't get you downtown safely. My apartment is 10 minutes away. It's not much, but you're welcome to wait out the storm there. Daniel studied him for a long moment. Are you sure? I don't want to impose. You're not imposing, sir. Nobody should be out in this. Marcus's apartment was in a tired building on the east side, the kind where rent was cheap because everything else was breaking down. He led Daniel up 3 flights of stairs, their shoes squelching with each step. Emma met them at the door, her eyes going wide at the sight of the stranger in the expensive suit. Emma, this is Mr. Westbrook from Daddy's work. He's going to stay until the storm passes. Hi, Emma said shyly, clutching her stuffed rabbit. You're very wet. Daniel laughed, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. I am indeed. Nice to meet you, Emma. The apartment was tiny, maybe 600 square feet total. Furniture from thrift stores, walls that needed paint, but everything was clean and organized. Children's artwork covered the refrigerator. Books lined makeshift shelves made from cinder blocks and boards. A small kitchen table held the remnants of Emma's homework. The bathroom's there if you want to dry off, Marcus said, pulling towels from a closet. I'll make some coffee. It's going to be instant, though. Instant's perfect. While Daniel dried off, Marcus moved around the small kitchen with practiced efficiency. He found an old shirt that might fit the CEO, started the coffee and checked on Emma, who was watching the storm from a safe distance. When Daniel emerged, wearing Marcus's oversized shirt and looking more human than Marcus had ever seen him. There was something different in his eyes. Curiosity maybe, or reassessment. They sat at the small table, drinking instant coffee from mismatched mugs. Emma brought out her coloring books and worked quietly between them. "How long have you been with the company, Marcus?" Daniel asked. 5 years, sir. Started in receiving, moved to logistics coordination 2 years ago. And you're raising Emma alone? Yes, sir. Her mother left when Emma was 2. It's been just us since then. Daniel nodded slowly, his gaze moving around the apartment, taking in the careful budgeting evident in every corner. The generic brand groceries, the repaired clothes hanging to dry, the single pair of work boots by the door, polished despite their age. The storm raged outside, but inside something unexpected was happening. Daniel asked questions, real questions about Marcus's work, his struggles, his dreams for Emma. Marcus found himself talking about the rising cost of childcare, the impossible choice between overtime and time with his daughter, the fear of one car repair, destroying their fragile stability. Emma eventually fell asleep on the couch, and Marcus covered her with a blanket. "She's beautiful," Daniel said quietly. "You're doing an incredible job." "I'm doing my best, sir. Sometimes I wonder if it's enough." "It's more than enough. Do you know how many people would have driven past me tonight? How many wouldn't have offered their home, their food, their time?" Marcus shrugged. "You needed help, sir. That's what decent people do. That's what exceptional people do, Marcus." Daniel pulled out his phone. "I'm going to make some calls tomorrow. Not because of tonight, but because of what tonight showed me. I've been so focused on quarterly reports and board meetings that I forgot what the foundation of this company really is. People like you, people who work hard, care deeply, and still find room for kindness." The storm finally broke around midnight. Daniel's driver arrived and the CEO stood at the door, looking back at the small apartment with something like wonder. "Thank you, Marcus, for everything." "Anytime, sir. Get home safe." 3 days later, Marcus was called to HR. His stomach dropped, anxiety flooding through him. Had he overstepped? Was offering shelter to the CEO somehow inappropriate? He'd broken some unwritten rule. But when he entered the office, Daniel was there, along with the HR director, both smiling. "Marcus, we've been reviewing our employee support programs," Daniel began, "and we've found them lacking. Effective immediately, we're implementing subsidized childcare, increasing minimum wage across all positions, and creating a hardship fund for emergencies. You'll also find that your position has been reclassified with a significant salary increase, reflecting the actual value of your contributions." Marcus stood speechless, emotions overwhelming him. "Sir, I didn't help you to get anything in return." "I know, that's exactly why you deserve it. You showed me what real leadership looks like, Marcus. It's not about corner offices or fancy cars. It's about character, compassion, and doing the right thing, even when it costs you something. Especially then." Tears stung Marcus's eyes. "Thank you, sir. You have no idea what this means." "I think I do." "And Marcus, call me Daniel. I have a feeling we're going to be working together a lot more closely from now on." Word spread through the company like wildfire. The story of the single dad who sheltered the CEO became legend. But more importantly, it became a catalyst for change. Daniel didn't stop with new policies. He visited warehouses, talked to employees, listened to their struggles, and acted on what he learned. The company transformed from the inside out. 6 months later, Marcus moved Emma into a better apartment, in a safer neighborhood with good schools. She thrived. He thrived. And Daniel became not just his CEO, but his friend and mentor. On the anniversary of that stormy night, Daniel visited their new place, bringing pizza and stories. Emma, now more confident and outgoing, showed him her straight-A report card. "Your dad's an exceptional man, Emma," Daniel told her. "He taught me that real wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in character, kindness, and the courage to do right when it's easier to look away." Emma beamed. "That's what I always tell him. We help people even when it's hard." Marcus smiled, his heart full. One storm, one choice, one moment of simple human decency had changed everything. Not because he expected reward, but because kindness was its own reward. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe noticed. The ripple effects continued. Other companies heard the story and examined their own practices. Employees across industries found their voices, knowing that speaking up about struggles wasn't weakness but strength. And in boardrooms across the country, executives began asking themselves a simple question: if caught in a storm, would their employees offer shelter or drive past? That question changed more than anyone could have imagined, all because one single dad chose compassion over convenience, connection over comfort, and proved that the biggest hearts often beat in the smallest apartments. Sometimes destiny isn't about grand gestures or perfect timing. Sometimes it's about instant coffee, mismatched mugs, and the simple decision to help another human being, regardless of who they are or what they can do for you. That night taught both men an invaluable lesson. Kindness is never wasted. Character reveals itself in crisis. And the distance between a warehouse worker and a CEO is far smaller than anyone imagines when humanity bridges the gap. Marcus Chen didn't know it when he pulled over in that storm, but his act of kindness would echo through countless lives, proving that one good deed, offered without expectation, can change the world. Not overnight and not all at once, but steadily, surely, like dawn breaking after the darkest storm. If this story touched your heart and reminded you of the power of compassion and kindness, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Your support helps us bring more inspiring tales of humanity, hope, and the extraordinary impact of simple acts of goodness. Together we can spread kindness one story at a time. Thank you for being part of our community.